Okay, well, we're not going to waste a minute. I want to get everybody in here. I see the audio is still loading. Okay, but we're not going to waste a minute. It's 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're the Bates International Group. This is the Roundtable. Ebony.
Hey, Mohammed here.
Hey, this is Albert.
Awesome. Okay, so tonight, well, before we jump in, first we should say, a few little plugs, right? That, we have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to, and we put these videos up there so that people can see them later. So this is going to be recorded. So just so everyone knows, and, what we talk about tonight will live on beyond tonight, and, will be a resource for folks later. So, feel free to ask questions and engage, because that's really going to be useful for other people. We meet the first Thursday of each month. The first Thursday of each month at 6 o'clock. Same link. And so, what else do we got? What else did I miss? Mohammed, Marty, on housekeeping items before we jump into our topic.
No. Normally we reserve questions, put them in a chat, and we address them, after we finish providing information. But, it seems like it might be a small group tonight. So feel free to, jump in, as we go, to keep things a little bit more lively.
Yeah, don't be shy. Marty, you have anything to add to that?
No, that's it. I mean, plug wise, we're on social media, as you said, YouTube. We're also on Instagram at the Bates International Group. So again,
and the Facebooks,
and
for what it's worth.
Don't forget the Facebooks.
We're on the conglomerate.
All right. Yes, we also you can check us out on Facebook as well. So tonight it's a little bit of a continuation, and I think that if you're tuning into us, you're going to feel a little bit of a shift towards talking to other agents and people who are in the business and people who are thinking about getting in the business. COVID has really changed the tides in a number of ways. And, not just in the business, but just socially as well. Just how we interact and, how we deal with one another has changed. And I think one of the big things that we have noticed is that, a lot of people have recently been jumping into real estate or thinking about it. We've been getting a lot of like, hey, I'm thinking about real estate, or, I was part-time and now I'm going full-time, no more playing around. And so, because we are who we are and we want to offer support to people, we're going to talk about that, sort of the pros and the cons, the do's and don'ts, and, the tricks that you can learn from us. We're gonna happily give them to you. So we're gonna talk about, if you're in real estate, what it feels like right now, especially if you're new, and kind of give you a few tips. So I think one of the first things I would say, that if you're thinking about getting into real estate, you should know that it's pretty difficult. It's not something that you can easily just jump into. So don't be a secret agent. Start talking about, what you want to do with real estate straight away, and make sure that, you get that confidence, because it doesn't come overnight, but you got to start calling yourself what you are and what you want to be and speaking it into existence, and then go for your license and be strategic about how you do that as well. So let's just jump off. What should we talk about first? What do you think? I mean, we were batting a few things around. I don't know. They're all competing as far as importance, but does anything stand out to either of you as one of the things that's the most important to talk about or lead off tonight?
I think licensing is a good place to start, but I mean, to add on to what you were saying, before you make the decision to get licensed, you need to know what your why is and why you want to become a real estate agent or get involved in real estate. So I think you need to define that first personally, determine your why, and then from there, establish your goals, what goals you have. And right off the bat, the first goal would be to get your license and decide what jurisdiction, what city, state that you're going to get your license in. That's what I have off the top.
Yeah, I think the other piece to really think about here is not just the why, because the why is actually really important, but to also set your expectations. Because this is the HGTV generation. Like personally, I love HGTV, but I understand how unrealistic some of it is. So, people think they can come in, they can find a house cheap, they can fix it up, flip it, and they're going to make 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 on the first flip. It's just so much more complicated than that. It's so much more work. Folks want to be a real estate agent so they can flip and sell their own property. They can make the profit on the sale. They can make the commission. They can do everything. Yeah, you need to really unpack that a lot and really look at realistically what that kind of looks like in the actual marketplace, and understand that you're a business. You understand that real estate is highly regulated. So there is a code of ethics that comes along with being a realtor that precludes you from, doing certain things. There's different conflicts of interest. And then also just the whole flipping aspect of a home is way more complicated than most people think. Take it from somebody who's flipped quite a few houses. And I'm working on a couple of flips right now on behalf of clients. And it's a lot. So really understanding what you're getting into and sitting down and talking to individuals who have been there, and not just talking to, but having your questions and listening, because you can go into a conversation with preconceived notions about what this is, and you can come out of it, with your ears closed and not having, heard the advice that's being given. And if you have an opportunity to work with a team or to apprentice or to, get guidance from those who've been in the business for a long time, I would highly recommend that, because the real estate game itself has an 87% washout rate in the first year. So 87% of agents in their first year fail. And that's a lot of money to be losing out on. And just trust me, when you're on a 100% commission basis, there is no check coming every 2 weeks.
And that fail rate only gets worse when it comes to year 2. So it doesn't get better. But no, and I love both of what you said, because, Marty, to your point, the why is really important, because one of the first things that, you're going to need to do whenever you get your license is join a brokerage. And, having your why completely figured out is really going to help you, because it's a different feel coming from a regular job going into real estate, because you are actually going and interviewing brokerages to decide where you're going to hang your license. They're interviewing you to a degree, but you really have to understand you're interviewing them. So don't get that all twisted in your mind where you're trying to do the whole dog and pony show for these brokers. You need to really be asking them the questions about
it's a partnership.
How they're going to support you and how they're going to support your business, because that's the function of the brokerage. Otherwise, you could do it alone, but you need to make sure that the brokerage fits who you are as a person, because if that's not in line, then you're going to be off to a rough start. So having clear ideas about how much support you want, because, as you go on in your career, you might not want a whole lot of oversight. You might not want a broker that's super hands-on and in your business for every single thing. Whenever you start, you may want that, but know about who you are, and also realize that your why and what drives your business is subject to change, because, hopefully you're going to reach your goals and free up some of your time and reach some of those initial goals. But then what? So, think big, think beyond where you want to go to, where your wildest dreams might take you, that you're making a ton of money. And now you've got more business than you can handle. What is your niche? Where do you want to focus? Have some of those things kind of fleshed out because if you don't, you're going to get blindsided, which, kind of goes into what Muhammad's, point was, about flipping. If you're thinking about flipping, you should really be thinking about how you're going to execute that and lowering your exposure and lowering your cost of development. So rushing out and becoming a real estate agent is not a good way to lower your exposure, because the thing is, if you get a license, everybody is going to expect you well, they're going to expect a lot from you. The law is going to expect a lot from you, and people are going to expect a lot from you. Consumers are going to expect a lot from you. So you really bind your hands whenever you become a realtor. And I'm just giving you the honest truth. Many folks will encourage you to go get a real estate license, even if you want to flip. And I'm here to say, and I don't know if y'all back me up, but I think you do, that you don't want to do that, because you're going to be liable for a lot of things if you hold a real estate license. You have to then be careful about how you rent your properties. You have to be careful about the materials you use. You should be careful about that anyway. But if you're a realtor, it's going to be a whole different ball game, and a whole different level of exposure. So what the suggestion is that if you really want to flip, then you should be thinking about getting some contracting experience. You should be looking at aligning yourself with a realtor that you can work out a good deal with and for repeat business. Or, perhaps if you have a partner, have them get a license, and, and then we can talk about organization. And as far as, you're, to use your words, Muhammad, you're a business inside of a business. You're a business inside of a business. And so you need to set yourself up before you start making money, because the big problem and the big mistake that I think a lot of us make is that we don't set up the infrastructure until the flow is, too, I think
too much to handle.
It's too much, right? Because now it's like, oh man, I'm making all this money. I'm going to be really screwed when it comes time for taxes. I better do something. It's too late. Forget it. You're already screwed.
Yeah, you want to get organized and set up from the gate. You don't want to do that on the back end. The more you can set up and get organized, from the start, the better off you'll be. And then you'll be able to segue your business right into those elements that you've set up. And as your business grows, then you can establish an assistant or whatever other support mechanisms that you need, and technology and automation to make your business flow even smoother.
Absolutely. Technology today, this day and age, and I think everybody on this call is old enough to remember when these technologies that made life so convenient did not exist. I was just explaining to my daughter a night or two ago what a payphone was, because she asked me, Daddy, did you have cell phones when you were growing up? And I was like, nope, we had payphones. So a lot of things you can do from a technology standpoint. I would highly recommend that, before you jump in, you spend the money. It's going to cost you several $100s to incorporate, set up your business as a business, get your incorporation, together, whether it's the LLC, S Corp, C Corp, however you choose to do it, based on the advice of your tax provider, how you should set up your business. That's going to help you in the long run as far as your taxes and your exposure and your liability as an individual. Because if you're that corporation is going to provide protection for you. Let's say, God forbid, anything happens, they can sue the company. They won't be able to sue you as an individual. So you don't have to worry about potentially losing your house or losing your car, or anything like that. And it's also why we have things like EEO insurance. You definitely want to make sure you have your insurances in place. Even if your brokerage has insurance, it's never a bad idea to have supplemental insurance and the like for yourself as an individual, for your company. The other piece is Quickbooks is relatively inexpensive, maybe 20, 30 bucks a month, where once you have your business set up, you have your business accounts, you run everything through your business accounts, you can link your business accounts directly to your QuickBooks software. All of your transactions will port over into your QuickBooks. You can easily organize. Once it's ported over, you can have your bookkeeper and someone as a bookkeeper, you can pay them, on an hourly as needed basis to get everything organized for you, once a month, once a quarter, and then you can turn it all over to your accountant at the end of the year, and it's all right there. You can actually give your accountant access to your QuickBooks account. It makes things so much easier, for you at the end of the year dealing with taxes. The other thing, as a corporation, corporations pay less taxes than individuals, so you will save a lot of money there. The other piece to really give some consideration to, in my opinion, is to hire for administrative services for transaction coordinators. You can actually pay transaction coordinators per deal. It's the equivalent of having a personal assistant that you pay on an as-needed basis. So I believe we pay $450 per transaction for the transaction coordinators who handle our transaction from soup to nuts, working with the home inspector, working with the other side on a buyer or a seller side, whatever situation may be, working with title, like all those things, getting all the signatures, like really handling everything administratively. If a deal falls apart, they don't get paid. They only get paid once the deal goes to settlement. It's definitely a huge worthwhile investment. And for individuals who are thinking about flipping, as opposed to getting a real estate license, which I do not recommend if you're going to be flipping houses, I would recommend that you take a home inspector class and get a home inspector license, because the home inspector license will kind of give you a head start in construction, where you can break down and understand how a home works and how it's supposed to work versus what you have. Like, you can learn how to point out all the defects in a property. And also, if you have a good home inspector training, you can begin to understand the cost basis for repairs and whatnot. And that will help you when you do your analysis and assessments when you're going in to purchase a home for yourself as an investor. So just some thoughts that I wanted to share from technology, and also from an education standpoint, to really think about when you're moving in the industry on at this beginner level.
Yeah, whenever. Oh, go ahead, Marty.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, from a flipping standpoint, there's a lot involved in that, and so you're absolutely right. Inspection and learning the inside from that side of the fence is key. But you have to know how to manage projects. You have to know the licensing requirements for various projects that you're looking to do. If you're building additions, if you're tearing down walls and so forth. So there's a lot involved there. So you really need to have your ducks in a row when you're thinking about flipping. So a mentor, being able to shadow someone, being able to partner with someone first that may have experience. You really want to kind of slow walk your way into a flip and not just dive head first, unless you're sure about it. I just want to throw
it sounds like you're saying proceed with caution when it comes to flipping, and I think that's fair. And to both of your points, real estate is no longer just the neighborhood expert. It's no longer just, I work by referral and that's it. And I don't have any other way of getting business or advertising myself. You almost have to, have multiple streams coming in and multiple ways of doing business, because a lot of what we do is build relationships. And I think from day one, as a new realtor and till day 150,000, whatever, you are going to need to build relationships and make sure that you leverage them, even if they aren't relationships that you have a use for right now, like the tax consultants and whatnot. You may be able to handle it for yourself, the first year or two, or maybe even 3, but you want to have those relationships in line. So at the moment that it's not working out, you can go ahead and call them. That's going to take work. It's not going to be like, oh, I can't handle this contract today because I've got 3 others that I'm writing. I think that there's somebody I can call. What do I do? No, you already want to have that lined up. So from the time that you become a realtor, I think what happens is you get your license and then you're sitting there like the Maytag man. I don't know if you remember those commercials where, the Maytag products were so great that he was just sitting there waiting for his phone to ring. But that's sort of the image of a lot of realtors whenever they first get their license. I told everybody, now they're going to call me. No, you need to get out there. You need to make calls. You need to make those relationships. And if you've made your calls and nothing is coming of it, then make some business calls. Create those relationships, because that TC, that person that can write your contract, transaction coordinator that can write the contract and run it through whenever you are, at a moment of real need, we're talking tens, thousands of dollars that you're going to be saving in your future. Because if you can't handle it, then there's no deal. It's going to go to somebody else. So that $450 becomes very minuscule. So build the relationships, have a plan for what your business is going to look like. And also, be targeted. I heard, some suggestions, and I just want to iterate that your business in the beginning, you're going to be trying to get business anywhere you can. And I don't want to make any bones about that. You don't want to go into it, and some of you may disagree, but if you are a full-time realtor and you need to pay the bills, you need to go out there and get business, and you need to go ahead and grind and do whatever you need to do. So getting a TC when you have no business might not be the best idea. Not only that, you need to learn the business. So if you can't write a contract, if you're getting a TC because you don't know how to write a contract, that's the wrong reason. Okay. So don't get what we're saying twisted. You want to earn your stripes. You need to earn your stripes, or else you won't be able to serve the public. So know the industry, learn the contracts, read the contracts, but also have a full army of folks at the ready to jump in on your side, so that you have the infrastructure in place to withstand the influx of business that you're going to get. Because if you go in and you start and you create an LLC and an S corp and or however you want to do, C corp, S corp, out, whatever, and you're marketing, you're going to get business. What you put into real estate, you get out. So just keep putting things out there and you will get it back, but just be ready for it.
The other thing I wanted to say is don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to take the classes that are being offered by your brokerage, and don't be afraid to annoy the hell out of your broker. Like, every little question that you have, like, start asking them. Make sure that you get information. You want to be the most informed person possible, and that comes from, to a certain degree, being annoying. Like, take all the classes, be that person that's always knocking on your broker's door. Hey, I want to run this by you. I want to get your opinion on this. They're a broker for a reason. They're there for a reason. Tap them as that resource. Like, put them in a position where they get tired of seeing you. But that's only going to make you better. Continue to be persistent.
It is. I mean, you can get leads that way.
Facts.
First, show up to the office. That's a great one, Marty. Half of the battle in real estate is showing up. Show up to the office. If you're an agent, or if you don't have business and you want business, get your behind in the office and just put in hours. Just hang out there. Because the thing is, and that goes into, choosing the right brokerage for you. For me, it was important to go into a brokerage where there were people selling real estate. There were people there. Sometimes you go into a brokerage and you hear crickets. There's nobody there, and you say hello, and the admin, pops up from behind the desk with bedhead, and it's like, what's going on here? So that might be your jam, because then that broker might have a ton of time. You just need to make sure that you're aligned with the right folks and that you're in the right brokerage, and align yourself not just with the right broker, but the right agents. So don't just go in and talk to the broker, talk to the agents. They will tell you what's going on and the challenges. You really want to vet this out, because this is your business. This is your life. This is your livelihood.
That's for sure. Just to add on to that, I mean, making your presence felt or known, and building your network within the brokerage itself, again, it can lead to opportunity, and opportunity can lead to business.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to take a crappy deal. You know, there are going to be more seasoned agents there who might toss you a deal, and the split might not be the greatest. You know, it might be a low commission kind of situation, something that is too small for them to want to deal with, but they still want to make money on it. So they toss it to you, you know, $150,000 condo in the Southeast. Like, take those deals, especially if you're starting out, because it's experience. It's going to build up your portfolio. It's going to build up your reputation. And you never know what leads are going to come out of taking those experience. And Ebony can tell you from personal experience that we've taken all kinds of crappy deals and turned them into like way more than they initially started out at, just having the tenacity to work it and not being afraid to do it. And also not having an ego, just, you know, being humble and hungry and get it done, you know, and it allowed us to go from a place where we're starting out to, you know, being ranked fairly highly within, you know, our respective brokerage with regard to our production and our value to the company. So don't be afraid to take the crappy deal. Hop out there, try to gather up as much experience as you can, especially starting out. The other piece on top of that is spend time learning those contracts. When I got into real estate, that's what I did. I did contracts. I'm damn good at contracts because I spent so much time with them. That's one of the things that when we started working together that Ebony really emphasized, like, learn the contracts. And I did. And it makes a world of difference. And it will put you a leg up amongst a lot of other agents, because you'd be surprised how many agents in a business, no matter how long they've been there, don't really know the contracts.
Well, revisit the contracts. The other thing that comes up to bite people is they knew the contracts in 1975 and haven't gone back to read it, and they'll fight you on everything. Meanwhile, the contracts have changed 3 or 4 times. One thing I wanted to say, and then we'll make sure that there are no questions on the floor, though, about the taking the crappy deal. Yes, but no. Make sure it's a real deal. Make sure it's a real deal.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Because there are some things that are fiction, okay? And I'm going to say that with conviction.
When I say crappy, I'm talking about crappy numbers, not the fantasy, because we've all chased our tail a little bit here. You know, well, don't chase your tail.
Yeah, I mean, just make sure that, you know, you're going to get something out of it, even if it's education. And, you know, but, you know, if it doesn't make sense, or it just doesn't feel right, or you don't have the time, be realistic and be true to yourself, and don't mess yourself over. You know what I mean? You're all you got. You know, be kind to yourself. And you know, if it's $1 million deal and you know it can only sell for 500,000, don't take it. You know, don't drag your name through the mud. Okay, so that's what I mean by don't take the crappy deals. So are there any questions that are out on the floor? Because I mean, this is a subject that gets us all fired up. We could talk for 3 hours, let alone 30 minutes. I know there are some other industry folks in here, and there's some folks who are thinking about getting into real estate. So are there any questions whatsoever? Are you guys able to unmute yourselves, or do we have you on lockdown here?
Everyone. Yeah, and I mean, if there aren't, you know, we're always an email or a phone call away. So, you know, there's no hesitation there. If something comes up, you know, post this broadcast, you know, you can always reach back out to us.
Okay, we have one question that came in. What has COVID been like for us? It's been like crazy. I would say it's sort of been a whirlwind, but I would say, I always like to look at the positive things. It has completely changed the way we do real estate. And so if you're new into real estate, it is an amazing time, because the old timers that have been doing things just so, all that stuff is out the window now. It's a totally new game. The technology is new. The way you interact with clients is completely new. And so there's a lot of opportunity for young, hungry agents who are new in the game. So that's one thing that COVID has done, is it's really leveled the playing field in some ways. What's your takeaways, guys? What's it done for you?
I've been really busy during COVID. I've had the benefit of having a lot of listings during COVID, and selling quickly, selling way above ask, and buyers, thankfully, have been willing to really be aggressive in this market. So it's a difficult market during COVID because of the escalations, but I've been able to do really well during COVID.
If you're a buyer's agent, buyer's agents, it's been difficult. Listing agents, it's been a cakewalk in a lot of ways. However, that is changing. I do believe I'm seeing a lot of price reductions. I'm getting a lot of emails about it. So the party is, I think, it's slowing down. People are starting to leave.
Yeah, it's not over, but we're getting close to last call.
Mm-hmm. Main lead generation source, that goes back to no one source. We used to just work by referral. Now we do the roundtable. We're calling clients. We were knocking on doors for a while until COVID. So we have a client appreciation. We have client parties. So there's not just one way to do it. And
we also do paid marketing.
We do
paid marketing.
Right on. So all of that is necessary. Don't think you can just do one thing. Just like the flipper that needs to also think about getting into another aspect of the business. And what was the last question here?
I'll take this one. Yeah, I think buying leads is a waste of money.
Spend your money elsewhere.
Yeah,
buy clients a gift.
Yeah, you're definitely better off spending your money elsewhere, because the leads that you're buying, the person who's selling them, they're selling those same leads to God knows how many other people. So these are non-exclusive. And generally speaking, these are leads that you can generate yourself with some good prospect management and prospecting tools, which I would say if you're going to buy leads, you're better off spending that money on prospecting tools and cold calling yourself,
right.
which we also do. That's not a big part of how we lead generate, but it is a part of how we lead generate. And it's a dollar better spent, in my opinion. Like buying leads, honestly, I think is a waste of money.
I would rather see an agent who is new spend money on a logo, getting their logo going, getting their website up, and then making cold calls to everybody to say, hey, check it out. Not only am I selling, but this is the real deal. Check out my website. You can't miss it.
You're better off. Yeah, you're way better off spending that money on Google AdWords.
Yeah.
I've gotten leads going to show houses. So we've got showing agents. And so for the folks that say that you can't get leads if you're not cold calling or whatever, it's hogwash. And this has happened with me and Muhammad before when we were out, I think, previewing a property. People came up and wanted to see the property. So if you're out there doing the business, you cannot tell me that you won't get business. So you just need to put your hand out and get yourself out there, because it will come. So I think we're at 34 minutes. So let's see. Do we have any last questions in the chat before we let it go? Okay, so that was the last question about the leads. I have bought leads, don't get me wrong. And
that's how we learned not to buy them.
Live and learn.
I mean, out of that whole batch, we did get, I can say that you can get leads, you can get business off of leads that you buy. So I don't want to sit here and say that you can't do it. And if you got the extra cash, then fine. But there are better ways to spend your money. And so we'll leave it at that. So if there are no other questions, we're going to get back at you next month. Same time, same day. So it's going to be the first Thursday of November, and at 6 o'clock. So come join us. Thank you for everybody spending your time with us, and we'll see you next month. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Why we're surrounded by